Okay, so I'm here in SBG with Jordan Furey. He's an amateur fighter, looking to be going pro fairly soon, I would presume, with the record he has and the experience he has behind him. So obviously to get to the stage that you're at now, you had to start somewhere. Talk us through what led you to MMA, how many years ago, and why did you go into MMA?
So I started MMA in Donegal back in Letterkenny, where I'm from, and I started off with boxing first of all, and then I kind of moved to MMA after a couple of years, and I was training in Healy on Gracie, Ireland. It was like a jiu-jitsu gym, and they had a few guys doing MMA there, so that's where I started off doing MMA, and then after maybe, I don't know, three years I moved down here.
And what led to the move? Obviously the Gracie is world renowned as well. What led you down here? Was it because the talent down here, you've got obviously John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor's coming from here, and then just a pool of bodies? Is that what you were looking for, to really enhance your skill set and get training with those bodies?
Yeah, well, I had kind of ran out of options in Letterkenny because Dara Kelly was my main training partner back home. Like, we're around the same weight, and he had moved down here maybe 6 months before me, and we're actually training together during the lockdown, and he was supposed to fight someone, and he asked me would I do the camp with him. So we're actually training in a friend's shed that was like more or less the same size as this, and then we're training for maybe a week or two, and then he said to me, SBG's open back up now, so I'm going to be able to go back down. And then we got talking, and basically he had texted John and asked could I come down, and I'd moved here on like 3 days notice, like. So I've been here since, like.
That's mad, because obviously, like, you chose SBG obviously because of the reputation and the bodies down here as well. Like, was that ever your plan to move down here, or did Dara have a part to play in that? Was it because he came down here first and he gave you a little insight what it was like?
Well, the plan was always kind of to move here, but I was going to have maybe 3 or 4 fights and then come down. But like, they basically brought me down here on a trial for a week, and I done well on the trial, and they asked me to join the team, so I was happy, like, you know, to move earlier.
Yeah, so you said obviously there's a trial period. What's it like coming from, obviously, you're leaving home, you come down here to do a trial. What's it like? Is it nerve-wracking going into a trial like that, coming into a gym like this?
I don't know. I always felt like I was good, like, you know, so it was good for me to confirm my level, like, you know, and obviously since I've got here, I've gotten a lot better, like.
Yeah, you can see the progression as it goes on, fight by fight. Obviously, there's a huge amount of finishes. You've had experience on multiple promotions. You've been to the Super Cup. So once, like you said, you were going to get fights. You wanted to get fights first in Letterkenny, but you came here. So talk to us about your first amateur fight. Going into it, what was the feelings? Was there any nerves? Was there anything like that, or were you comfortable with the whole situation going in?
Well, like, I'd already had maybe like I've had a lot of fights in boxing, and like that wasn't my first fight, like, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like your man that I was fighting, I thought that he was going to be. I was like, in my head, I was like, right, I've been in a load of fights. I was like, he's not going to have been in as many fights as me or whatever. So I felt like I had an advantage on him going into it, but he was actually very tough, like, and I finished him in the first round, but the round had ended. But I had him in an armbar like for like 30 seconds before it, and his arm broke, like. So the referee then, in between rounds, called the fight off.
Did you realise he had broken his arm at the time?
Yeah, like, I cracked a couple of times, like, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't try to break it, like. You know, when you're in there, like, that's the game, isn't it? Like, you know, you have to go for it, like.
Yeah, because they say you're not putting people in submissions for them to tap. You're putting in to break their arm, and it's their job then to tap. Because obviously, if you felt your arm was in danger of breaking, surely I would presume you're going to tap out.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he had the option to tap, like, and he didn't take it. So, you know, I would prefer if he did, but if he doesn't, like, you're going to have to do what you have to do, like.
Yeah, because you're hardly going to let go and let him get back up.
Exactly, and then I end up getting put in an arm bar, and he breaks my arm, like, you know.
Yeah, so like you went on a streak. You went on a mad streak first. You'd fought a couple of fights. You fought like Jess, and then you fought, I think, was it 3 or 4 fights in, you fought for a belt at Clan Wars. Talk to us what it was like getting that shot.
So I actually thought that I was going to need to have a few more fights. Basically, I thought that I was going to have 3 or 4 fights on Clan Wars before they gave me the belt. But after I fought Jess, I stopped him in the second round, I think, and then they offered me Aaron McDonald for the belt, and that I think it was August. And I was excited. Like, I had always wanted to fight for a belt, and I felt like I could beat him. Like, so I went for it. Like.
Yeah, and then again, you went out another finish. And you went. How did it feel? Like, how did it feel? First of all, only being that like far into your amateur career and being getting a title shot, it must have made you feel good in your skill set and the way you were coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, 100%. And as well, like, Aaron was at the time, like, people were. Like, he had a lot of hype around him at the time. People were talking, saying like, "Oh, this guy has like serious power in his hands," or whatever. And beforehand, like, it was definitely my most the best one that I had that I enjoyed, like, you know, because he was talking a lot of shit to me beforehand, like, and I got a bit emotional afterwards, like, and a bit aggressive, like.
Obviously, for me, I think that is part of the game in some cases. I think at amateur, I don't think it's needed as much. You're not getting paid. You're going in there trying to learn your skill set. Like, when he was talking stuff like the shit talk to you, did that make you emotional before the fight? Did that make you want to go, right, I want to take this guy's head off now?
Yeah, like, that's the way I approach it anyways. So, like, it made me more aggressive, like, you know. I felt like a decision went over him wasn't going to be enough. Like, I wanted to smash him, like, because, like, his friends and everything were texting me, and it was just, like, it didn't annoy me that much, but it definitely made the victory that much sweeter.
And what did he say to you after, or did he say anything to you after, or did...
We were cordial afterwards, like, you know, shook hands, whatever, but beforehand, like, there was definitely beef there, like.
But that's all said and done. And then you fought on multiple different promotions as well. Like, you fought on Clan Wars a few times. You're after fighting Shock and Awe now as well. Like, you've travelled to different places, even with the Super Cup. So, like, you kept going on this run. Like, how did it feel when you kept winning and putting guys away decisively? Like, does that help grow? Like, was your confidence growing with every fight?
Yeah, like, I always knew I had power in my hands, like, because even whenever I was, like, boxing, and maybe, I don't know, I think I was boxing at like 62 or something, and I was even stopping people in boxing whenever I was really skinny, and, you know, in MMA I knew it was going to translate with the small gloves, like, and that's it, like, I just...
Yeah, so, yeah, because you see, when you hit someone, they hit the deck. There's been a couple of very nice knockouts there. There's been quite a few, but because you were so powerful, did people ever, like, pigeonhole you as like a striker maybe? Because you've got a few sub victories as well. So when you get those victories, you like to get the submissions to show that you're not just a powerhouse striker.
Yeah, well, I'll take whatever I can get, like, you know, and I literally train grappling more than striking. Like, I'd say probably 70% of my training is grappling. And here in SBG, like, we're known for our cage work, like, you know, and all the sequences that we have against the cage. So whenever I fight, like, I'll just take whatever I can get. Like, you know, if normally somebody will try to take me down, but then, you know, I'll go for my own takedowns and stuff then. But generally, I won't go in and shoot. You know, normally someone will shoot on me and then we'll get into an exchange and I'll end up taking them down or something, you know, but I don't look to go for the takedown.
No, but you're proficient in the area when it gets there. So and then, like I said, with the submission finishes that you've had, like, going on, one of the things as well that you can never be taken away from you is the Super Cup. Talk to us about going to the Super Cup and what that was like the bond that was created with the team there. Like, there was yourself, there was Jordan, a few at Lewis, there was so many. Talk to us about getting picked for that team first and what that felt like to be able to go over and represent the country in the first ever one, because that can never be taken away from you. Yeah,
that's it. It was a great event, like, and like, obviously I had planned to go to the Super Cup because I fought in the Nationals and, you know, I intended to win the Nationals, but then I got beat by your man Colin Maher in the final. He beat me by decision, and they had let me know maybe 3 or 4 days after they texted me and said that Colin wasn't able to take his spot because of I had injured him with I think I hip throwed him and he tore something in his shoulder, so he wasn't able to make it. And then I got the calls and I was delighted. And whenever I went out there, I felt I had a point to prove. Because the fight with Colin was tough, but I felt I didn't show up as well because I don't know. It felt like whenever I was in the gym here, I spar here in that cage, and I had shin pads and a rash guard or whatever, but it didn't feel like a fight because before the nationals, I had been fighting bare shin since my very first amateur fight, so I had maybe 5 or 6 fights in the bare no shin pads, and then I went there, fought with shin pads, and then it was just a bit weird to me. But whenever I went out to the Super Cup, I felt like I needed to prove that I'd earned my spot on the team, and I think I gave a good showing of myself out there.
Yeah, you did. I think it was the Mexican knockout where I don't think you're going to be allowed to go back to that country because I'd say you're wanted for assault with what you did. But talk to me actually about Colin going in fighting Colin, obviously losing that fight because you'd been on such a streak. And obviously, like you said, if that would have felt like more of a training, sparring session to you because of the shin pads and stuff, how did it feel to lose the first fight? What was going on through your mind?
I wasn't happy that I'd lost, obviously, but looking back now, I'm happy that I did lose because I learned a lot from the fight, and the way that I approach my fights now is different because I never wanna lose like that again. It's worse losing a decision where someone is, wrestling you and controlling you against the cage. It's worse losing like that than it is getting stopped because I don't know, I just felt like I could have done more in the fight. And obviously your man Colin he's very, very good, and I think before the fight I was looking at his record and he'd made his MMA debut and I was 13 or something.
2013 I think he started, something like that.
He had a lot of experience, and to get in there and fight against someone with that kind of experience I felt like I had him in trouble in that fight as well. So that is going to stand to me in the future, definitely.
Oh, 100%. And then obviously because up until that stage I know you lost that fight, but you hadn't gone to decision, and you've only gone to decision twice, so you got those extra rounds in. When you got to the Super Cup and you were picked up and all, from what I heard it was there was no expenses spared. It was you were treated like superstars, basically. And when you were amateur fighters, talk to us about how that felt, that kind of the setup, the way everything was done, because it was a fantastic show. Oh,
it was unbelievable. I think myself and Jordan Bradshaw, we didn't actually get we were supposed to fly on, I can't remember what day it was, but they wouldn't let us on their flights because we weren't vaccinated. So me and him ended up then getting a flight the next day, which was paid for. We landed, they had a chauffeur from the airport to take us to the hotel, and then whenever we got to the hotel, they gave us a bag, a bag about this size. It was a care package of, there was SIM cards with 50 gigabytes of data. They had speakers, discount codes for the shopping centres, and really mad stuff and the hotels were very nice, and they looked after us very well out there. It was kind of, at the time I was seeing it as a taste of what's to come, because obviously whenever you're at the highest level of MMA, you're going to be treated like that by the organizations that you're fighting for as well. So it was good to taste that whenever I was young and early in my career,
Yeah, that's an experience that will never be taken away from you as well. And one thing I liked about the Super Cup, because it was a little bit different with the setup, the way that the team, you won as a team, you lost as a team. How did you find that setup? Because obviously there's the IMAS where you do go as a team, but you fight as individuals. Whereas, do you think that helped your bond? Did you like that system, and do you think that made you closer throughout the tournament?
Yeah, it was definitely, there was good camaraderie between everyone that was there. We, whenever, say, on both of our fights, or both of our wins, you'd say, we come down to the last fight. So it was really good for us, even you win your fight, and then it was we were losing one, winning one, losing one, and it was in the end up it came down to the heavyweights, So it was good to be part of a team. Everybody was supporting you, and actually Gustavo was in the the last fight, he's a teammate of mine as well, so it was good. He got the win for us to put us through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, I think he decided one, and did Dennis decide the next one?
I think it was Dennis.
With the America.
He submitted your man with the head and arm triangle. I think
I thought it was an America. I can't remember, but I know it came down to. I remember Gustavo because I talked to him just before he went out, and then obviously Dennis, and obviously you get to the last one, and unfortunately you lose. But when you look at the stand, like how small this country is, for you to be there and get to the final, like what did it? Even though you lost. Overall, how did it feel just to be there and get the silver medals as a team and as an individual?
You know, it was great to prove that we're up there. Like, you know, like our country, obviously, I think going into that, we were not expected to do well, like, and we came second, like, and it was good to prove, obviously, like, for such a small country that we're up there in MMA at the top level, like, and it felt like in the final, it was a bit of a setup, like, you know. I don't think there was one guy from Bahrain on that team. Like, the guy that I fought was a Dagestani. And then I think the girls were fighting against, like, Brazilian girls and stuff. Like, you know, nobody was actually from Bahrain. Like, so they were kind of scouted in. And they were saying as well, like, some of the guys that were out there that they were getting paid, like, to fight and stuff. Like, and, you know, we were just out there. We obviously got out there for free. But, you know, a lot of the people that were there had jobs and stuff. Like, you know, and we still came second. So it was good to, you know, prove that we belong at the top level of MMA.
Yeah, and you certainly did that as a team. And I'd heard that before. There is some countries that actually do pay their amateurs to go and fight in the likes of the IMS, which I think is mental. Because I know over here there's no funding, which obviously the likes of John, Danny Cornall are really, really pushing on at the minute. And I know up north it's looking like it's getting over the line.
Yeah.
But here, like the costs for you to be an amateur, like this costs you money. I know you have some sponsors as well. How beneficial and crucial are sponsors to amateur fighters to continue your career towards pro?
Well, like without my sponsors from home, I wouldn't be able to do this. Like, you know, like it's great to have them. Like, you know, since I've come to Dublin, they've really, really helped me, and you know, I'm just appreciative of the fact that they, you know, have stuck by me through this. Like, and now turning pro, I'm hopefully going to be able to make my own way going. Like, but it's still, you know, I think for amateur MMA fighters here in Ireland, like you need to have sponsors, and you know, obviously they're good people to be helping you out. Like,
yeah, because like that between gym fees, rent, the food, nutrition, like all that sort of stuff.
Living in Dublin as well, man, it's not easy. Like,
yeah, no, living in Dublin is not easy. It's quite expensive, and the cost of living with bills and all have gone up to ridiculous heights now as well. But you've gone on, you've collected a couple of belts, a couple of different weight classes. Obviously, you just fought recently, Shock and Awe, and you've got 2 belts there, 2 different weight classes. Some of your fights have been welter, some have been like super lightweight, some have been lightweight. Going forward for pro, what is the weight class you're going to be?
I'm definitely going to be fighting at lightweight. I feel like at pro, like these guys are going to be trying to get an advantage on you any way they can, like, you know. So I think some of the lightweights will be around my size, like, and at welterweight, like, it's just I'm not a welterweight. You know, day before weigh-ins, like fighting on the same day is grand, but some of the welterweights that train here in the gym even are like fucking 86, 87 kilo, like, and I'm nowhere near that. Like,
yeah,
even if I was out of shape, I wouldn't even be, you know, 84 max.
Yeah, it's mental that there is the difference between lightweight and welterweight. With it, like, that is a big one. I know a lot of people are calling for like one in between and then maybe go up, because like I said, the day of you have to fight welterweight, where you'd be more naturally towards lightweight, and that's a huge difference. And it's, like you said, when it comes to pro, everyone's going to be looking for that advantage, that little bit of advantage. But we go to your 2 victories over in the UK. How did the fights in the UK come about? Was it the gym actively looking to seek out promotions in the UK, or did they come and seek yourself? Because I know yourself and Gary went over. Yeah,
so it was actually Richie Smullen had texted me the first time, the first fight that I had there in October for the welterweight title. So Richie had texted me maybe, I don't know, I think it was 10 days beforehand.
It was very early.
And he said to me, he was like, there's this guy for a welterweight title in Shock and Awe in the UK. So I accepted it straight away. But the second time as well, then I think in the cage after the first fight, they had said to me, because your man Charlie that I had just beat, he had beaten Mario Groovy from our gym.
Yeah.
And so like I had agreed to fight him in the cage in
Oh,
October.
really?
So like me and him were supposed to fight anyways, you know, from that date. So it was just whenever the next show was going to be, they said that it was going to be me and him for the lightweight title then, which is my weight class anyways.
Yeah, so it was good going pro, and because I remember him and Mario had that was actually...
It was a great fight.
It was a fantastic fight. It was a very back and forth fight.
Mario was never going to win that fight over there anyways. You know, like, you're not beating them guys in England, like, it's not happening.
It usually has to be a finish.
They took a point off me in my last fight for nothing, like.
Oh, well, talk to us a little bit more about that. Then what happened?
So, like, I was kind of in a position here where he was in my leg, and I'd hit him a few shots, but, like, the shots were not to the back of the head. Like, they were right on the side of the head, and the referee took a point off me, but the referee didn't announce to the judges that he had taken a point. Like, normally whenever you have a point taken, you're brought to the centre, hands are raised, point. None of this happened. And then afterwards, I was standing there, and like, it was a good fight now, but for the first 2 rounds I clearly won. And then the third round was close, like he almost caught me in a guillotine. And I just heard then when the decision was coming, I was standing there for about 5 minutes after the fight, nothing. They were still waiting for the decision, and then I just heard split decision, and I just thought, Jesus, I'm about to get robbed here, like. But they give the fight to me in the end up, but like, it goes to show, like, you know, the judges didn't even know if they had taken the point.
So is that what they were trying to clear up then? Was it?
I don't know what was going on, but like, it wasn't a split decision, like. And also, you have to declare that a point has been taken. You know, like, this was just, they just said to me a point was taken. You know, there was no like.
Yeah, no, like that. You see, you very rarely see the points taken, but when you do, it's like that. They take the fighter's arm, they go around 1-1-1 for the judges to see it. So that's a bit mental that happened like that. But you came out with the victory, you got the belt, but you are planning on going pro soon. But last year at one stage, I remember there was talk you going pro, and then it didn't happen. Is there any reason behind that? Obviously, because I know you were supposed to go to the IMAS then. I was chatting to you. I think you got injured, then you couldn't go to the IMAS.
Yeah.
What was the change to keep doing some more amateurs? Was it just to get a little bit more experience?
I'd actually, like, it was a weird enough one. Like, I'd actually picked up an illness before the IMAFs. I think it was before the IMAFs, but I was like really sick. Like, I was in hospital, and like I had to basically get clearance to figure out if I was going to be able to compete again. Like, and it took a bit of time, you know, to get the clearance. I had to get some like had to get like a cardiac investigation to make sure that I was good to fight. Like, and once that was cleared up, then I was straight back, and I got it, cleared it, and then it came back. So I wasted maybe 2 months.
And what was that for you going through? Because obviously you've been putting your heart and soul into it. You've been putting everything. You've been putting money. And as a fighter, to have that hanging over you, am I going to compete again or am I not? What was going through you? I'd say that was an up and down kind of time.
Yeah, like there were, you know, for the first couple of weeks or whatever, I was kind of just wondering what was going on, like, but you know, got a bit of clarity from it, like, because they said like that it's not it's just something that some people are prone to getting. You know, it can be to do with overtraining and stuff like that. So it's something now that I can prevent happening, you know. So, but at the time now I was worrying about it, like, because obviously I've spent a lot of time training and put everything into this, but it's good now to be here since 2 fights in, you know, 2 belts.
Yeah, 2 belts. Like, and overall, I think you've got 3. Is it 3 belts?
Yeah, 3 belts. I fought. I won the Clan Wars belt, and then I defended it once, and then I've won the Shock and Awe lightweight and welterweight.
And when you went over to Shock and Awe, when you went over and you won those belts, obviously the first one was short notice. Did you enjoy going over and doing the travelling? I know you've done it with the Super Cup as well, but that's kind of like you said, the Super Cup was giving you a taste of what you were like at the higher level. But with going pro fairly soon, chances are you're going to be doing a lot more travelling. Do you think it was good to get those last 2 fights over? And I know it's only over across the seas, but to get into that habit of going over hotels, fight week, stuff like that. Did you think that's going to benefit you going into your first pro fight, whenever it may be?
100%, that'll stand to me, because the first time that I had went over, obviously it was in 10 days notice, so I didn't really have much chance to bring anybody with me. It was me, Mario, Andy, Richie and Gary, so there's only 5 of us. But you know, whenever I was going out there, it was pretty hostile, like, you know.
Yeah.
I came out with the tricolour or whatever and 10 Irish song, and they were just booing me out of the place, like. And at one point, actually, the fight was about to start, and the announcer had to come back into the cage and shout on the mic, if everybody doesn't calm down, both fighters are going to get disqualified. Because they were giving me a load of abuse, like, you know, and they were shouting, going mad. It was pretty wild over there, like. And it was good to walk out into that hostile environment where, you know, obviously nobody there wanted to see me win, like. And, you know, I think that not many people will go through that at amateur. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've already have that in the bank. Like, I see that as, you know, I've been through that twice now, so it's going to stand to me in the future.
Was it like that the second time as well? And when you originally come out, obviously they're going to be booing you, and you see that happen over here as well when you go to certain shows, because it's kind of like home shows, like.
Yeah.
That does happen. But overall, obviously, because of the kind of people we are, it's not going to get out of hand. When that started, like you said, it started getting a little bit out of hand, what were you thinking? Were you thinking, this is a little bit crazy here?
I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. Like, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, some people maybe would be intimidated by it, but I kind of, it motivated me to get in there and, you know, go for it. Like, because, I don't know, the second time there now, and, you know, just 2 weeks ago there, like, I had maybe like 40 people with me, so it wasn't the same, like. And I had bought not all of the cage side seats, but like we had 3 tables up beside the cage.
Nice.
So, like, I don't think your man that I was fighting would have even heard his people shouting, because right beside the cage was all my people, and all his people were way back. So, like, this time it was definitely good to get the support, like.
It is good like that. When you fight over here, you're going to have the support all the time. So I think going over into those environments, you're going to have to get used to it, because it's going to be, once you go into the pro ranks, chances are, like, your first 2-3 fights maybe be regional, and then after that it's on to different things. So it might be in European destinations. So I think getting used to that now, or having that now, will stand to you, because chances of coming back home as you progress will probably be less likely. But getting down to lightweight, I want to talk about that, because obviously you fought, like we said, you fought at 2 weights. Like, do you, like, what is the cut like for lightweight? Do you have a nutritionist? What way do you work at?
I don't even have a nutritionist. I kind of just work off a few boys in the gym and stuff would help me out, but like I get to lightweight easily. You know, it's not an issue at all. Like, I could probably make lightweight next week if I wanted to. So
would featherweight ever be an option, or would that be too small?
Nah, I have no interest in going to featherweight. Like, it's not something I'd be interested in. Like, you know, I feel like I don't feel like, I feel like I'm strong. You know, like at lightweight, I'm still strong, and obviously I've got power in my hands. Like, I wouldn't feel like I would need to get that advantage. You know, I feel like I'll do very well at lightweight even.
Yeah, that you're gonna have the power advantage as it is.
Literally, like, I don't. It's not a case of me trying to cut more weight to gain an advantage. Like, I'm just getting to. The only reason I'm fighting at lightweight is because, you know, now at pro, your record matters. Like, so you're going to just take the steps to ensure that you're not going to be outsized or whatever. Like, not that I'd be worried about it. It's just, you know, it's not very intelligent not to do it, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. So, like, going forward, you're going from fairly soon. Like, what is the dream for you? What is your aspirations? Like, what do you want? Would it be UFC, world champion? What is it you want?
Yeah, I'm going to the top. Like, that's the only. Since I started, like, I always wanted to go to the UFC, and that's the goal. Like, get to the UFC, and obviously, if you're going to get to the UFC, you want to be the best in the UFC, because obviously the guys that are in the UFC everybody wants to be at the top, you know. So I feel like I'll thrive in that competitive environment as well, and I'm looking forward to being able to start rising up now in the professional ranks.
Yeah, and we can't wait to see professional ranks. And there's so many options, and then obviously being in SPG, there's so many options available to you. So the chances are, like obviously Bellator is always stacked with SPG fighters. You've got so many different PFL now. How do you feel as a fighter now with the amount of promotions that are out there potentially to go to work your way up to the UFC? Because I know years ago it was kind of just UFC and Bellator and not much else. How does it feel to have all these promotions rising up and having more options?
It's great to have the promotions like the big shows as well, because it's better for getting your name out there. But I'm prepared to take the hard road to the UFC. Like whenever I get to the UFC, I'm going to be ready for it. Like I'm not going to try to take easy fights or anything. Like now coming into my professional career, I'm going to just take the hardest road that I can to get there, because you want to be prepared whenever you get to that level,
Yeah, because you see people sometimes when they start the pro ones, they kind of try to pad their records and stuff like that. But once you get to a certain level, there's a certain expectation, and then if you haven't fought the hardest people, do you believe then that's when people get found out if they don't take the harder fights?
Yeah, 100%. Like it's grand getting a few fights and building your confidence or whatever, but if you go and get to 7-0 and you're fighting absolute bums, and then you get to they throw you in against someone that has 20 professional fights who may have fought guys with 20 plus fights as well. It just doesn't make any sense. If you want to get to the top, you're going to have to fight the hardest guys, and you're going to have to prove yourself. It's grand being on Instagram 7-0. You've got 50,000 followers or whatever, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm not interested in that. I want to be the best, and I feel like by fighting the best guys, that's how you're going to get there. It's no good fighting a pile of idiots.
Yeah, it's not like I said, it's going to get you found out eventually. Once you get to the higher levels and there's expectations, so you might as well, you've taken the hard fights at amateur, you've fought everyone as well. So through your amateur career, I'm going to ask you a question about 3 fights. So the question is, which is your favourite finish, which is your favourite fight, your favourite performance from yourself, and which fight have you learned the most from? And that can be a win or a loss. It doesn't have to be necessarily a loss.
What was the first one? My favourite win?
Favourite finish.
My favorite finish, I'd have to say, was Aaron McDonald, because obviously I said before there that he was talking a lot of shit coming up to it, and I don't have anything against Aaron McDonald now, but at the time that was the most pleasure I had taken in winning, because as I said, he was talking shit to me or whatever, and I really came into that one motivated.
And then what was your favourite performance as well, because most of them are finishes except obviously the last one. What was your favourite performance? Which one did you feel you showcased a lot of your skills from?
Best performance, I'd say probably my last fight, because I got the three rounds in, and it was good for me to show, that I have that grit as well. Because it's grand going in there and smashing people in the first round, but you need to get the rounds in as well. And it was good to get into that third round where I was tired. He had me in a guillotine. He was close to submit me, and I came through it. So I'd say that was probably my best performance, and anybody that was there to watch it would probably tell you the same, because every time they come to watch me fight, my family members are like, we want our money back if you finish it in the first round, because every time they come, they don't get to see really much of a fight. It's always I think I've got 7 knockouts and 2 submissions, and probably 8 of them are in the first round, or 7 of them are in the first round. So it was good to be able to show a bit more in there, and put on a bit of a show for the people that came to watch as well.
And how beneficial do you think it is? Obviously, that's the second time you've got 3 rounds, but to get it just before you're going pro as well, to go the full distance. How much experience do you think you gained from that?
Oh, it was great. I was having a great time in there. Every time that I have a fight, I come prepared for the 3 rounds, and in my head, I'm going to go the 3 rounds coming in anyways. But your man that I had just fought, it showed me as well that a lot of people, you can go in there and knock people out or whatever, but a lot of people are there to win, and I could see it in his eyes, I was he wants to hurt me, and I really felt like that's going to stand to me as well. Like, instead of going in there and beating people in the first round, it was good to get the 3 rounds against somebody who's there to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that you had to earn your victory basically. Like,
yeah.
he was there. He
and
was
it
there.
felt a lot better. Like,
yeah, to come through that, then that must have been an amazing feeling. And then, so the last one is, what is the fight you learned from the most? Like I said, that could be a win or a loss.
I'd say the fight I learned from the most was against the Dagestani guy that I fought in Bahrain, because I was just, whenever I came out, like, I was kind of a bit too relaxed or whatever, and then, I'd made a really silly mistake against the cage, which cost me the fight. And, like, when I tell you, I haven't made that mistake once since, like, so it was good to make that mistake there, put myself in a compromised position. I got submitted, obviously, but since then, I haven't been caught in that position, and now whenever I get to pro, where the record matters much more, I'm never going to make that mistake again. Like, I could have made that mistake
on your debut,
in my pro debut, you know what I mean? Like, and that would have been detrimental to me. So it was good to get that loss and make that mistake at that time.
Yeah.
And I'd say that's probably I learned the most from that.
Yeah, because like that amateur's all about gaining experience, obviously improving your skill set. But like that, when mistakes are made and you find potential holes, like you said, since then you've never been caught in that position. So
yeah,
it'll never happen again. It was good to get that through. So I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
When all is said and done, right? So your career is over. What do you, Jordan, what do you want to be remembered by? How do you want people to remember you, whether it's as a fighter or as a person?
I want to be remembered as an entertaining fighter. Like, I don't want, whenever it is all said and done, I want them to say he's fought everyone. Whether I win or lose. Obviously, I plan to win, but like in the end up, I want to be known as an entertaining fighter. Like, I want somebody who goes in there and goes for it and puts on a show. Like, and obviously, I want to be remembered as like a great fighter in Ireland. Like,
yeah, and so far you're doing a fantastic job. Everyone's looking forward to your pro debut later on this year, so I can't wait to see it. I want to thank you so much for your time.
Thanks very much, man.
It's been an
Thanks
absolute
for having
pleasure.
me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure.